So here I am in the heart of the Volkswagen Learning Centre at Milton Keynes, and I'm here today to meet the VW ID Buzz. Now, I'd like to have added another word to that, the ID Buzz Cargo, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I'm really excited to know what is going to be the future of this vehicle for the light commercial vehicle sector. So where does this van fit in the light commercial vehicle sector? Well, it's a strange one really, because it sits between two, the small van sector and the medium van sector. The gross capacity in terms of volume would sort of lean it towards the lower end, the 4 cubic capacity and also 600 kilos payload. It certainly doesn't appear to be the Transporter T6.1 competitor that we perhaps may have thought, because it's definitely going to be quite a big compromise on that, but actually quite a positive step in regard to the small van sector. So what about the inside of this van? It has got a lot of space. Now, Jack Scarlett, 6'5" of him, sat very comfortably in the van version of this with the full bulkhead that comes as standard, and was able to make his way around Milton Keynes in relative comfort for someone so tall and in a van, because typically speaking, vans don't have as much space in this area. Now, as I say, that does compromise in other areas, but I think from a driving perspective, this is a lovely environment to be in. And whatever the van looks in terms of differences, it's not going to be too different if the image of the dashboard, which you can now see, would give you to believe. Volkswagen have also made a really important point about the maneuverability of the vehicle. With the front wheels so close, a turning circle of 11 meters means that this is going to be one maneuverable vehicle, especially around car parks, because you can actually get it in a car park. This has a 1.93 meter load height, of 1.94 actually. So under your 2 meters, you're safe as houses. In terms of load length, it's 4.7 meters, which is 200 millimeters shorter than the Transporter T1 and a couple of 100 millimeters longer than the Caddy, which again speaks to its positioning of being in between the two. So when I really thought about where would be the appeal for this beauty, it immediately struck me that it is the BBC market, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, those artisan people looking to differentiate themselves in the marketplace. Now, Volkswagen have told us that their larger fleet customers are certainly very engaged with the idea of this van. And certainly with a range of over 200 miles, arguably from the 77 kilowatt hour battery, which is one of the larger ones on the sector, it is going to take it well over 220 and arguably up to 250 miles. But different operations will affect it differently. But it's also coupled with 170 kilowatt hour DC charging and also 11 kilowatt hour AC charging. So that's really great news. This means that this vehicle will charge from 5 to 80% in approximately 29 minutes, as long as you have the right charger. So you're looking for 175 kilowatt charger, or 350, anything larger than 170, and you will get that. If you rock up at a 50 or a 100 kilowatt hour charger, you won't get that in there, no matter what the badge says on the vehicle. I wondered very much about why put the charging point at the back, but of course reversing a van into a charge point and then driving out is far more comfy from a health and safety point of view, and also less prone to being damaged in an accident like the front nose version of the Charger, which is on all the other vans bar the Renault, I think. Another first from Volkswagen for electric commercial vehicles is rear-wheel drive. Well, everybody argues that actually driving a commercial vehicle is better with rear-wheel drive, and certainly the addition of a tow bar, which wasn't lost on me, means that this vehicle can tow 1,000 kilos without too much difficulty, although that's the limit. So, but you know, it's rear-wheel drive, it's got huge great battery, 204 brake horsepower. I hope you can kind of feather that up as you pull away when you're towing something. But 204 brake horsepower. Obviously that's going to shift this baby along, but I hope for the commercial vehicle sector that we'll see some limitations to that, as that's a lot of power to go through those rear wheels. Another great feature, and I don't know if they'll be electric, but they will be available twin side load doors. So doors on both sides, meaning that you can pull up on either curb no matter which direction you're facing and still be able to safely access your load area. That's going to be really important for many people using this kind of vehicle. And of course, how much is this vehicle going to cost? Well, there's no pricing specifically yet, but they are suggesting a pre-VAT price of below £40,000, which sort of pitches it against the Vito or the high-end Vivaro type product. But maybe it does compromise a bit on the payload and the cubic capacity that you need as a van. What's exciting about this whole vehicle launch is that it is the beginning of a new journey with things like swarm data, the connectivity of the vehicles, things like vehicle to house and vehicle to grid potentially in the future, this bi-directional charging. These are the new ways that we're going to be doing transport. There's also talk of autonomy in the future. You would have seen that if you watched the global premiere. But this is a new way of motoring. This is a new start, not just the vehicle itself, but all the technology that surrounds it, that hopefully, and fingers crossed, will make our lives easier as commercial vehicle drivers and as people that are on the roads day in, day out. So, as soon as you can, get and have a look at this. Learn about the technology and don't think of it as, well, that's pointless because you can't use it, but think of it in the sense of this is the beginning of a new journey. Well done, Volkswagen.